So for the time being, while I am working on this, I will keep troubleshooting and testing it and see if we are overheating or damaging that alternator. I suspect we're going to be okay, but there's the best honest answer I can give you. Now this is where I admit that I didn't take my own advice. The next step is I'm going to place the 4 batteries in right here. I've already connected to their serial number, so I have control over all of these batteries. And I have a little bit of critique for Vatrer. I did remind everybody to take a picture of the serial numbers on the batteries because they're very difficult to read once they're installed. They're on the side over here. I was able to see this one. So what I did troubleshoot and I found out which battery is which. I took the last 2 numbers of the serial and I put them on top so that I'd be able to turn them on and off. I kind of wish Vatrer would put the serial numbers on top, or at least give you a sticker you can put on the other side so you can not have to worry about that in the future. Because when you go to the app right here, you'll be able to see all the batteries. You can't change the names of the batteries, so that's not that helpful, but you can see the last 2 numbers are all different right there. You can only look at 1 battery at a time. So right now I'm on 29. I go to the dashboard, we can see we're at 49% charge there. We can actually see each cell reading down here. Right here, I did point this out in the previous video. You can turn the charger and discharger off by pushing and holding down these buttons. It'll ask you for a code. The code is 666000, and now you can turn them on and off. That's an incredibly useful tool to have, especially because this is a metal box right here. So I was able to install the batteries without any of the power at the terminals right there. So that's huge, especially if you have a marathon bus in the same compartment right here, because you have 3 batteries on the back, 3 batteries on the top at an angle right here, and you basically have to install the back one and hook up the cables as you work your way out, which is incredibly dangerous. So being able to turn the batteries on and off is great. I do wish that on Vatrer you could have a clearinghouse to see all the batteries by themselves. So if you want to 36, I've gone to 36, but you really didn't see much change. But now you can see I'm at 51% right there. So the app is a lot better than the previous app they were using, but I think there is still room for a little bit of improvement on this right here. But you can see I have that battery turned off also. Now I looked at the manual and they didn't really explain it or not, but if I go to 21, we're at 50%. If I go to 27, we're at 49%. If I go to 36, we're at 51%. And then if I go back to 29, we're at 49%. I think we do want to have the batteries fairly close in charge. So I will turn on the lowest battery one at a time to get them all up to match, I think, 51%, because that's going to be the easiest method first for me. All right, so with that all out of the way, I'm hooked up to battery 27 with leads to the meter right there. Not really showing anything, so I'm going to switch to 27 over here. Now we are on 27, we'll go to dashboard, we're at 49%. I'm going to go ahead and push and hold the discharge MOS. I just heard something click there. So look, we do have power coming out of the battery, 25.83, and a little bit off, it says 26.4 there. And then I can go ahead and turn on the charge MOS, and now that's turned on. So now the first thing we can do is just go ahead and turn on the house battery power for 12 volt. I just heard the cell phone turn on back there. That's funny. So now these 2 DC to DC converters are powered up, taking 24 volts from those batteries, turning it into 12 volts, going from there to the disconnect to the circuit breaker, and then down into this distribution panel down here. So we have nothing there. Oh, that's ground. So we have nothing there and nothing down below it. All right, we do have power there. All right, I just wasn't pushing hard enough. All right, so 24 volt down here, nothing. Ground right there, we won't have anything. 24 there. We have 12 volt house, and then that should be actually the generator battery right there, so we won't see anything there. On the distribution right here, I think this is a 24 volt side, And then nothing there and nothing there. So we have 12 volt right there that powers up on the 12 volt side. So our 24 volt is dead. Right, so right now we're only running off this battery. The other 3 batteries are turned off. If I turn on house 24 volt and inverter power, because this one inverter on each one of that, and then distribution on house also. It's kind of confusing how they did that, right? Now, if we go to the other side, we can see that we have power there. That's very high power. Very bright 24 volts there, so that's good. And the inverter turned on, so I could probably turn the inverter on right there too. So now we are technically inverting. I do have all the breakers turned off inside though. Now I'll come over here and I'll turn the chassis battery back on. Still pretty good. Nothing blew up. If we come inside right here, so we have those lights are working, these ceiling lights are working, and I think both the inverters should be on at this point. Okay, let's see, so refrigerator. There you go, refrigerator's on. Go ahead and turn that back off again. All right, so we're pretty much, like I said, all the breakers are off over here. That is all the inverter power. That would be operated by the inverters, except for the refrigerator, which I'll leave off. Now, the front TV is going to work. The microwave is going to work. Right now, the cruise airs are not set up to operate off the inverters. So these don't do anything because they don't have power. But if I go ahead and turn off the app again, we can see that we are discharging, I don't know, just over 11 amps, just below 12 amps, which translates into about 310 watts. I do have the charger turned on. So now if I were to come over here and start the engine. All right, engine started back up. Like to hear that, right? All right, so now we are charging at 24 amps, so 19. So it's a little bit all over the place, so something pretty reasonable. I'm not too worried about. It actually keeps going down. That's pretty cool. But it's only seeing 26.4 volts. Remember, hopefully you can hear me. We have 26.5 at the batteries right there. This wants 28.4 to 29.2 to fully charge these batteries. I can go ahead and put it into high idle right there. And it's still only at 26.4. If we look at the app, we're only putting in about 8 amps of current. Actually keeps going down because our battery voltage isn't going to get high enough likely to charge these batteries. Now technically if I wanted to, I could come over to this potentiometer right there and increase the voltage to make it charge better. But remember, these batteries are lead acid. Those are the chassis batteries. We don't want to damage those by overcharging them. So as long as we're getting rudimentary charge to these while we're driving down the road, I don't think they're going to have to worry about damaging the alternator. We won't get a full charge on these batteries. To do that, we'd have to put photovoltaic on the roof and have a charge controller that can handle lithium iron phosphate batteries, or obviously upgrade these inverters so that they have a good lithium profile on them. That being said, let's start the generator and see how we do. All right, click. 2. We should have power inside now. All right, right now it says we're inverting and we're discharging. And if you guys were paying attention, I do have those 2 battery charger feeds off. Remember, don't pay attention to that. All right, so we are now charging. Hopefully we'll start hitting the generator bog down a little bit. All right, so we're just at 26.6, but we are putting in about 40 amps of power into those the one battery. If we come over here, I'm reading just under 27 volts. The app is showing just under 27 volts, about the same current. I want to say those inverters usually run about 28 and a half volts. But even though I told you not to trust these, it doesn't look like, if I were to guess, one of the inverters is even charging. On the other hand, speaking of chargers, we have the battery charge 24 volt. Let's turn that on. Come back over here. Looks like the green light is on. We are flashing. Maybe that's a maintenance flash. Let's see, what does it say? Blinking fast is bulk, blinking slow is absorption, on continuously is float, and off is in storage. I'm gonna call that fast, so it looks like we're in bulk charge. So that was working and keeping the chassis batteries charged. Now, not every owner actually uses that continuously. It's mostly used for emergency or for long-term storage, which if it were me, I would probably just hook that thing up to an extension cord and then plug it into an actual exterior outlet, because that's all you really need to keep those batteries charged up if you have it in inside storage or covered storage or at a storage facility where all they have is a 15 amp outlet. Don't hook up the entire bus to even less than, I mean, even 30 amp I wouldn't recommend. You'd want 50 amp for sure if you're going to be plugging in this bus, but if you don't have that and all you have is a 15 amp outlet, I would just unplug that right there and plug the battery charger straight into it. You don't have to worry about tripping breakers anymore. Now, before we close out this rather long video, we'll go ahead and see what we can see from the Victron app. And so it doesn't look like these have built-in Bluetooth to them, but it does look like the battery charger does. So you don't throw away the information, because right in here is going to be the pin number. See, that needs to go on top onto the unit in there, so that we don't get that lost. Right, so you can see it's currently in bulk charge, putting out 5 amps. So not too bad. Not anything else worth looking at in here, but there you go. You can see what your battery charger is doing using the Victron app. We can see our battery voltage is coming up 27.23, 27.1. Our cells are in pretty good balance. The only one I see a little off balance is, I guess, the last ones, but we're talking not too much of voltage. We have brought this one battery up to 50%, so I'll let it charge up to 51%. Then I'll turn everything off, turn this battery off, go to the next battery, do the same thing. I really don't know that it's good or bad to turn on or off the charge or discharge while it's charging and or discharging, so I'm not going to recommend you do that, but I think it's kind of interesting. I don't know what else to say, guys. This was an awful lot of work. I'm overall very pleased with the installation. It turned out a lot cleaner than I thought it was going to, putting the splash guards and a little bit of a heat baffle back there. I initially wasn't going to do that, but it's probably a good idea too. All my cable routing looks really good, and probably the only thing that I was a little bit concerned about was putting those bus bars in, because I knew there wasn't going to be a lot of room for it. If you went with 2 12-volt batteries down below, 2 12-volt batteries on top, you eliminate a lot of the battery cables that you would need, because you'd just be jumping from positive to negative right there, and then you'd only have the 2 battery cables coming off the 2 batteries. So that would eliminate at least 4 big battery cables, but again, you do only reduce yourself down to whatever the amp hour ratings of the 1 12-volt battery is going to be. And again, if one of the batteries were to go bad, the one that it's paired with in series would be dead too, and you'd be down to 2 batteries. So this gives you a lot of redundancy, and I'm going to go ahead and keep testing it. The next thing for me to do is going to be install those inverters, and that's going to be quite the ordeal too, to bring this 1996 Liberty Elegant Lady 30 years into the future so that it can last another 30 years into the next future. I have an awful lot planned to do on the outside and on the inside, but I really need to make sure I have a good power supply, because again, this is an off-grid shop, so if I don't have power or good power for the bus, for the house side and the chassis, it's really difficult to work on this continuously. But I will leave you with this little bit of a sneak peek. I did manage to update the outside lights, and that's going to be a great big project that I'll have down the road. I wanted to test that out and see if it worked, and I think it looks really good. Have a lot to do. I hope this video wasn't too long or too boring. It's something I've been putting together in my mind for the past 3 months now, and so to have this part done with it really gives me a lot of relief, and the fact that I turned it on and nothing blew up gives me even more relief. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. We'll check in very shortly on the inverters. Bye. I hope I answered a lot of people's questions, but if I didn't, put them in the comments below and we'll see if we can't figure it out together. Yeah, only that inverter was charging. But the fact that I got the generator going and the watchdog working made this possible. Another sneak peek is I was able to replace that not matching light on the exterior right here. A lot more work than I thought it was going to be. But that seems about right when it comes to a bus and a bus conversion. And so when people say, why don't you just switch out to lithium batteries on a bus, like it's no big deal, I want you to know it is a big deal. There's a lot of moving parts on a bus to compete with. This is not like a normal motorhome or RV. Get this missing screw put back in. Probably should have checked the threads first, huh? Alright, and then just to prove that we're not rubbing on anything, all the grounds are up there, all the positives are down here, and we're pretty well protected the way the factory would have done it, or the converter, I guess, in this case. So that's good. This is secured. Back over here, I know I didn't touch base too much on all the reasons that I went with 2 of these. I know Bus Grease Monkey has used these, and I know that Monument Solar has used these too. I know that I'm very unhappy with the connection points being so close to each other, so much so I'm going to go ahead and just use some clear silicone to squirt in between to kind of keep any possibilities of the cables moving and shorten each other out, because they have ground right in the middle. Man, I really wish they'd do that differently. I know I'm not a big fan of making it difficult for the next guy, but I just want to make it safe. All that being said, I did get everything secured over here, put my cover back on right there, got my chassis batteries put back together, and even have the bracket secured there for the first time since I've had this. Otherwise, that's a huge thing out of the way.